Hey guys, how are you? It's Vol here. Time to look at another game of Infinity. We're going to be playing the new Com Center, the ITS9 version of it. So the new ITS9 version of Com Center is a bit like the last one. The main difference is that instead of getting more points for killing more troops than your opponent, there are points that can be scored by destroying your opponent's designated target, which is the HVT in this case, and a further bonus set of points for doing that with your data tracker. So, in theorizing about this mission, one way to win is to get more consoles than your opponent at the end of the game, preferably by going second and just jumping onto them and taking them back, and that's 4 objective points. But if the other player kills more specialists and kills your data tracker and does it with their data tracker, they get 5 points. And maybe you each get your classified, so the person who's completing those objectives wins. But it's pretty easy to sabotage their attempt at doing that. If you keep the scores level on number of specialists killed, well, that's fine. The person with more consoles will win. Also, if you've got more consoles and you kill their data tracker, preventing them from killing your designated target with a data tracker, well, there's that which can come up. Or let's say you get the consoles and you kill their designated target with any of your models, maybe not your data tracker. Well, you've got that little extra bit of buffer, so it's really hard for them to win that way. But I really still like this mission because even though turn order is important, as it should be, it's not as game-breakingly vital as it is in some scenarios like, in my opinion, Frontline, or the old Armory used to be, or I think Antenna Field, missions like that. With that in mind, playing a list which doesn't really mind whether it goes first or second, and it's going to be YuJIng, and we'll talk about it shortly, but first of all, let's talk about the table. I took a couple of pictures of the overview, and with this particular table, we've designed it so that there are some long fire lanes, like there's one right through here, the massive one there, another massive one through here, there's a massive one through the center. So, missile launchers, sniper rifles are going to have a great time. You can also get onto the high ground here and here from your deployment zone and have a pretty good time with the Rangers. Having said that, anything that does utilize these long lanes can quite easily be approached by a Spitfire or a combi rifle from a shorter range because there's so many ways to get there. Also, the lanes are very thin, so cautious movement is going to be a good possibility. Here's a photo from the other side of the table. As you can see, there are some long lanes, but generally there's a lot of density going on here because there are so many of these large yellow, blue Bandua buildings. I'm starting off the pictures here with a hidden deployment photo. This is of my hack tower. And you can see here that I'm using this deployment zone on this side. Haqqislam are going to be over here, and my hack tower is just going to be positioned there, so that if anything shows up walking through this avenue here, the hack tower can respond to it by revealing and shooting. But more importantly, this is the hack tower HMG with executive order. And the reason why I've chosen that particular profile is because I know that I'll be up against Haqqislam, or at least very likely, and one idea to counter my opponent's plan of putting Eljabal into my lieutenant, which is a Zanshi, is that if I, for some reason, am forced to go second, I can put the Zanshi somewhere as bait, and carefully position him such that to get into combat with the Zanshi, Eljabal's going to have to come around a corner and move some distance to him, preferably outside of a smoke cloud, and that way I can reveal the hack tower at the last moment. Therefore, the hack tower becomes a lieutenant, and he tries to assassinate the model he thinks is a lieutenant, and we're okay. One problem with that though is that if I get the positioning wrong, you can just spec fire the smoke over, move through the smoke, and then lieutenant dies before I've revealed the hack tower. So, just again, got to be very careful with that. So the hack tower's here. If I get my camera away, and of course there's a ninja just hanging out behind one of the objectives. There's 3 closest to me, it's on my right, so that's where the ninja is. But let's have a look at that. So my deployment zone is as follows. So we saw the ninja was just deployed there. We've got a flashpole spot in group 2, we've got a Shaolin monk group 2, Guangxi group 1. This is the Lieutenant Zanshi here, and just planning on letting him come after it while the hack tower gets revealed. He won the role for choosing with a lieutenant and decided to pick the better table side, leaving me to decide to go first or second. I've decided to go first. Even though this is a mission where you can do well with second turn, I have to go first here because you just can't let El Jabal and the Daylamis just wreck your first turn. It becomes too much of a struggle to win without the good material later in the game. And this is also a mission where you can get away with chalking up a lot of points by killing specialists early, preventing them from pressing buttons, killing the data tracker with a designated target with your data tracker, and picking up your classified and doing that early. So getting that momentum first turn, definitely the right choice. There's a standard Kaisotsu there and a forward observing Kaisotsu here. Another Guangxi, another Guangxi. We've got a Tokusetsu Doctor. Now let's talk about this guy, the Yanhuo with twin missile launcher. I have publicly said on YouTube that I don't like the Neurocynetics guy. I think that the standard missile launcher is better, and I never really went into a lot of detail. I think that the majority of cases, you get more value out of the standard missile launchers because you're going to be wanting to stand up and attack and get rid of ARO pieces and provide the templates. And whenever you're defending, well, one missile launcher is going to be enough to deter most things, and against any dedicated attempt to destroy him, the second missile launcher is not going to help. So that was my reasoning. This game, I am going to try out the Neurocynetics guy, and it's an experiment at this point, but my thinking at the moment about it is that I'm only ever going to use him as a bullet bag. I want my opponent to attack him in my reactive turn so that I can waste orders and use the Doctor to revive him. And if I get lucky, well, that really punishes them. And the two missiles is also even better at beating smoke-throwing warbands like Kazimotiwa. So that is why I'm giving him a go for this game. You can see on the bridge there that my opponent has actually deployed a Daylami. Ready to get a sneeze. Oh, no, I don't. He's deployed a Daylami right on the bridge, ready to attack me. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Left-hand side deployment zone. More Guangxi. Got the monk there. That's the control device. Celestial Guard. The Guilong ready to go for the objective. Another Guangxi there. The Krakot with Red Fury. Krakot with Red Fury is not the most popular Krakot, but I think he's really good against Haqqislam because he can't be isolated, and the shock Red Fury really comes in handy at clearing out the Gazi Mutiwas, and he's very good at winning face-to-face rolls against them. And if you get lucky with the metachemistry roll, you might get Super Jump, which allows him to make some really ridiculously good use of the Red Fury in general. So here he is. Oh, moving the wrong layer. There we are. There he is. There's another Daylami which has been planted down nearby. Luckily, I'll be able to intercept that and kill it, hopefully, before it does much damage. And his third one failed the check, deploying in his deployment zone instead. Okay, so looking at the Haqqislam side. Let's grab out the pen. So he's put a Hunzakut Fort Observer next to his objective. He's got a Gazimutiwa here and the Daylami that failed to deploy. Gazimutiwa behind the building, that's a sensor bot. He's got his lieutenant flamethrower dude, Nafatun. Odalisk with Spitfire, of course the standard Janbazan with HMG, ready to make use of the smoke. Further back there's a Gulam Fort Observer and a TR bot way back there. I'll keep going with the photos so you can see a bit more clearly the other side now. So his objectives are 1, 2, and 3 out there. And so we saw Sensorbot, Gazimutiwa, Nafatun, Janzaban HMG, Odalisk, the other Gazimutiwa, Gulam Fort Observer, TR bot. There's the other Gazimutiwa. There is a Gulam sniper at the back here. Loves to take those guys. Just a standard sniper, and another Nafatun here to decoy as the lieutenant, of course. And on the far reaches, you can also see a Barid killer hacker and a flash pulse spot right over on the side. Okay, so his reserve model was Aljabal, deployed prone thanks to this white marker, and just on the other side of the walkway from the Yanhuo. So if he wants to, he can come over, destroy the Yanhuo, and then potentially who he thinks is my lieutenant, and even the doctor. So it's actually a pretty good place for him to go. Alright, so for me, starting out with my first turn, the Guangxi are moving out impetuously and trying to discover this this Daylami who ends up springing his Panzerfaust and I think I missed and he missed and so forth. So we ended up going to a situation where I had to shoot him with something else. He even intercepted these long-range guys who luckily got saved by a smoke grenade. So no early casualties there, but have to be kind of wary of these Panzerfausts at the end of the day. All right, so what we ended up doing is moving around the side here with the Guangxi to fire the pistol at him. And I had to be very careful because if I move directly forward, this is with a regular order, by the way, not with a impetuous. If I move on the wrong angle, he can fire his shotgun at me, and the blast template could clip the YuJIng. So I've got to make sure that I move in a direction that doesn't allow the Guangxi to come in front of the YuJIng, if you guys can picture that in your head. Elsewhere, using the lieutenant order to move up the stairs. And I think it's important to use the lieutenant order here because I'm about to reveal the Hack Tau and switch lieutenants. So using the lieutenant order now is quite efficient. But moving him up the stairs allows him to come to a position where he can discover the Daylami, who reveals and fires a shotgun back at me. The combi rifle, the 3 bullets, is able to destroy him, and then I can move the lieutenant back down the stairs and hopefully entice him into coming after me with Algebel and spending a whole turn doing that. Okay, importantly, the Krakot with the Red Fury does not roll the super jump or anything. It gets +3 physical and regen. This model here is his designated target, and my Krakot is the data tracker. He's chosen his Odalisque to be his data tracker. But anyway, Spitfire goes off, or Red Fury goes off 4 times, blows up the designated target. So that already gives me a huge wad of points. Then you've got his other Gazi Motewe here, which I can shoot and destroy that as well with shock ammo. So that's going pretty well. After that, though, because I don't really want to take on a sniper rifle with the Red Fury, I'm choosing to move out with the Hack Tau, and all he can do is delay or discover because his sniper is there. And with another order, I'm able to move carefully around the side and just pull myself around the side of the building. And the next photo is going to show that a little bit more clearly. Hack Tau just coming over to the side of the wall, shoots his machine gun at the sniper and destroys him. By the way, this model's actually not on the table. That's just me putting my Kamamaka to one side. So Hack Tau doing what he does best. I decided to leave the Hack Tau there because if he starts moving out with Gazi Motewe, I can shoot them and with arrows. But if he does have a go at me with the Janbazan, hopefully the Hack Tau can actually tank 1 round of shooting before pulling back behind the wall. That is the hope. YuJIng Fort Observer moving out here behind the objective and pressing the button to secure it, and then walking over here to try and secure the next objective, but unfortunately willpower didn't work out, didn't even pass the check and failed to capture that one, and we've put a mine down represented by this little white marker. Yeah, and of course the Shaolin Monk and the Guangxi moving out as well. On the other side of the table, Ninja appearing to try and press the button, but failing to pass the whip check and just leaving it there. This is a bit of a risk, but I knew that the Ninja would have an opportunity to help discover Algebel as he walked across the gangplank, the walkway, and also I wanted the Ninja to be there to generate orders for next turn, and I didn't anticipate him coming under attack by very much, so decided to take that risk. What have we? Okay, so I think we've gone to Haqqislam turn 1. We've got a Gazi Motewe moving out around here, coming into a bit of a shootout with the Shaolin Monk, but neither side is effectual in that exchange. And then once he gets to the side, I decided to reveal the Hack Tau voluntarily, since he was going to get revealed anyway, and shoot at the Gazi. This helps to block him from putting smoke down by beating him in the face-to-face roll. Unfortunately, the Hack Tau managed to miss completely, so that was a shame. So I've got to get some wounds on this guy because I don't want him coming around the corner and beating up on my YuJIng. That's quite important at this stage. So elsewhere, we've got the Gazi Motewe behind the building, just pushing around here, and again, a shootout between the Gazi and the Hack Tau. And the Hack Tau puts a wound on him and prevents smoke from going down. And the good thing about the situation for me is that he's got 2 Gazi Motewe on either side of this building, which is housing the Janbazan, right? And if those guys in Matiwa are running into arrows and failing to put their smoke down, that's going to prevent the Janzaban from hiding in smoke to kill the Yanhuo and the Hack Tao. So watch what happens next. We've got another one coming around another corner, and you can't really see him because the photo's too blurry in the distance, but he's there. So the Yanhuo fires 2 missiles at him and wins the face-to-face roll, so smoke does not go down. I think one of the missiles misses and the other one hits. And the Gazimutewa tanks 2 saves, fails the other one. So that was a bit disappointing. I was hoping for 6 armor saves and for him to fail 2. But this now means that he might have an opportunity to get smoke out there after all. So a little bit unlucky there. What ends up happening is, this is where he's situated, is he can now try and move forward, and it is legal to throw your smoke in such a way that it does not block line of sight to you. Therefore, it becomes a normal roll rather than a face-to-face roll which is contested. That way, he's got an opportunity to have, say, a 75% chance of putting down a smoke in front of the Janzaban and continuing with his turn and just using his normal strategy and tactics. So, of course, that's what he does. He moves out. Because I knew that he was going to do this, the Hack Tao decides to dodge, so it comes back behind the corner so that the Janzaban can't immediately shoot him. And what ends up happening is the smoke grenade goes down here, so it can help block for the Janzaban to move out. And the missile launcher fires over here and destroys the Gazimutua finally. But I would have preferred that my plan had worked and I'd been able to shut him down. I think this picture does make it fairly clear. Like, for the Ghazi that's coming around this side, there's a missile launcher, Yanhuo. And for the Ghazi coming around this side, there's a Yanhuo, there's a Hack Tao sitting there. So I've picked off both angles to prevent the smoke from going down. And if there's no smoke, again, it's just a Jambazan against a Yanhuo. 12s, 4 dice, 14s, 2 dice. It's not the kind of situation you really want to be in if you're a Janbazan. So that didn't end up happening though, so we've got the cloud up. Luckily my Hack Towers managed to get out of dodge. They have Kinematica 1 by the way, which is primo. I think that's awesome. So now what we can do is we can get Mr. Jambazan here, start shooting at Mr. Yanhuo. And it's 4 dice on 12s versus 2 dice on 8s. So it's not really that comfortable. It's not really that comfortable. And this is where having neurosynetics does make a little bit of a difference. I just wanted to show you guys this. Unless I've got this wrong, what I've done here is I've gone, okay, the Jamazan's shooting with an HMG at normal range, 4 dice, correct range, he's got cover. And then the Yanhuo is missile launcher. I've changed the burst value to 2 because of neurosynetics. The range is correct, got cover, and I've added a -6 modifier because he's shooting back through smoke. And let's look at the stats. So 52% chance of doing just 1 wound, and that is perfectly acceptable. I want him to have that 52% chance of getting a wound. Hopefully I pass the guts check and we go on to the second round of shooting, and every time he shoots there's a possibility of me winning the roll, right? So 16% chance of him killing me outright, which is acceptable again because the doctor's right there, I can revive him, and the 2.68% chance is fairly negligible. 34% chance that neither player succeeds. Well, I'm perfectly happy with that because it's just him wasting orders, really, so that's fine. 13% chance that or close to 14% chance that I win and kill him, which is fantastic because then I've got a massive advantage in this game. Just by the way, if there was no smoke, and if he just had to go and raw, then it's not looking great, is it? I've actually got a better chance of beating him than he does of beating me. So I think neurosynetics does actually help here. 34% chance of him getting just a wound that doesn't even kill me, and 38% chance of me just putting him down, and he's got no doctor nearby. So, yeah, not the most comfortable shootout in the world for the Janbazan. What happens, though, is that he shoots me and inflicts a wound, and then has another go at it and does another wound. So it makes me unconscious eventually. I've got the doctor there. I've burned through 2 or 3 orders with him doing that. But he got off lightly there. He could have actually had quite a hard time that turn. Elsewhere, so what's happening now is the Daylami is here and the Ghazi is here, and they He ends up enticing me into throwing a smoke grenade that blocks off the monk. But this is what he wanted all along, because what happens is now we have a Cube Jaeger showing up. The Cube Jaeger is a brand new model intended to be a mercenary for the ITS season. I publicly said on Facebook that I don't particularly like it. I think it's a little bit too expensive for what it does. It's a bit niche. I mean, you look at the Krakot and how awesome the Krakot is. The Jaeger is not really up to that sort of level. But, you know, the Jaeger ends up doing okay here because he's tricked me into putting in a smoke template down for him. But I like to think that a Rajik or a Bashi Bazook is also going to be pretty good in situations like this as well. Note that he can't just go into close combat with the monk or shoot him. And if he comes around here, there's a Krakot which can turn around and chest mine him as well. So here's the positioning. He wants to be able to move out. He's got a submachine gun, by the way. So he wants to be able to move out through the cloud and end up specifically here so he can shoot the Guilam in the back. And that's going to remove a pretty key specialist. So has to carefully move up to next to the box. This guy's in group 2, so he's got very few orders to be spent on him. So my opponent spends a command token converting in a regular order into a regular order so that he can move out and shoot as well. I've put down a mine with the Guilang. So as soon as he moves in range, the Guilang does a change face dodge, -3, the mine goes off, he destroys the Guilang and passes the armor save from the mine, so that was kind of irritating. The mine doesn't even get its job done. Elsewhere, moving out with a Hunzukut, and also pressing this button, so taking it off. Aljabal, now moving out as well, so Aljabal able to stand up, move across here, and the best I can do is discover. So rather than him crawling along, he just walks. I can't shoot at him, just has to discover him. By the time he walks along the gantry he's been discovered twice, thanks to some good rolls, because there's so many models there to discover him. And the plan is for him to just come into base space with the Doctor and kill it, which then prevents me from reviving this guy here. So there's no point in even trying to remove him, because he can't really come back to life. So Aljabal shows up here, Doctor is destroyed, and to finish things off, he decides to pull around the corner and use his light shotgun. Now, I contended here that because he's prone and his silhouette's here, and he's only got a very short height for a silhouette, and my model is here and it's prone as well next to the staircase and I only have a very short height. You're having to sort of measure lines of fire just very carefully across there, so I claimed that I had cover there, and my opponent decided to give that to me. If he had been standing up, definitely no cover. If I hadn't been flush against the staircase, I don't think cover's applicable either. But if you actually get down that low and you're trying to measure from the top of this space to the back of this space, a lot of it's actually obscured by the stairs. It doesn't look like it from the angle the picture's on, but it's quite low. So he ends up missing his shotgun blast, and the combi rifle arrow kills Aljabal, which is embarrassing. Again, taking some risks. A little bit of a risk with the Cube Jaeger, well, not the Cube Jaeger, more so the Jambazan. He's managed to get his smoke grenades off when he shouldn't really have against those arrows with the missiles. And but now luck swings back my way a little bit. I should say that for the rest of this game, I ended up playing as if the Zanji was dead. I completely forgot that it survives through the rest of the game, but I was playing the rest of the game with an order down because for some reason I thought this was a trade. Anyway, not a big deal, just a friendly game. So Hunzukut, moving back over here, and this marker here is not actually a Hunzukut, it is the camo marker created by a mine when you deploy a mine. So he's collected the objective and he's put a mine there to deal with any Quang Shi swarming around the side. We have the Cube Jaeger here, which decides to try and poke out and kill the Haktao, but nothing happens. Haktao survives and doesn't even manage to kill the Cube Jaeger. The Haktao wins the face-to-face roll, by the way, with his pistol, and Cube Jaeger tanks another armor save, which is starting to get annoying. So in my turn, again, the monk impetuous around the corner into close combat with the Cube Jaeger, whacks him with a stick, and another armor save's passed. So we're not trying to make the argument that Cube Jaegers are especially good. It's just that he's passed 3 armor saves this game so far. Gazimotiwa fails to destroy. Actually, no, he succeeds in destroying the Shaolin monk with the pistol, so that was even more insulting. So what we have to do here is we move out with the Krakot. The Krakot very carefully moves in range to shoot with his Red Fury. Note that there is probably enough distance to get the chain rifle down, but he's got to angle the chain rifle in such a way that it doesn't clip his model. So because it's on a bit of a side angle, I was trusting that it wouldn't have range to my dude. I realized later that, oh, excuse me, I realized later that, you know, he might have been able to do it just by tilting it in some sort of weird way, but anyway, that's not what happened. The Ghazi eventually gets destroyed, although not by the Krakot. I believe he gets killed by something else. In fact, the Hack Tower is what kills him. So the Hack Tower is planning on going around the other side. Hack Tower moves out and destroys him first, so that we don't have to worry about his nasty chain rifle. And then the Krakot is just able to go into close combat with the Cube Jaeger. Chest mine to the face. He's got pretty good close combat, +3 for the chest mine, so beats up the Cube Jaeger despite the monofilament weapon, guys. And then this enables me to move through with the Krakot, eliminate this Daylami, and eliminate this this bot here, and almost eliminate this Forward Observer, but not quite. That Forward Observer managed to survive against the wrath of the Krakot. So there's the Krakot destroying the Jaeger in close combat. So yeah, and then we come around here, and this is the turn during which I'm trying to shoot out these models in the distance. Only picking up the flash pulse bot though, so the sensor bot I meant. So there's the sensor bot gone down. Hacked out, just moving around here, and then pulling back again to that position because this model is the TR bot, and Hacked out hitting on 14s versus the TR bot hitting on like 6s, 5s. Pretty easy win for the Hack Tower despite the 4 dice. There's no crits, and the Hack Tower does get a crit, so looking good in that shootout. Having to stay back a bit though, because if he stands where the objective is, then the Janbazan will shoot at him, which is not really ideal. Group 2's orders allow me to move up to first base with the Kaisotsu Forward Observer and press the button successfully. So that's looking really good, and he's prone behind the objective because again, Janbazan, don't really want to have to deal with that. Ninja finally succeeding with the button pressing that he failed the previous turn, staying prone. So I now have the row of all the 3 comm center consoles next to my deployment zone captured, and he's got 1. So it's 3 to 1, but he's got 2 turns left. I've only got, I think, he's got like, I can't remember what the turn situation is like, to be honest. Okay, this is his second turn, I think, yeah. Moving down the stairs with the Janbazan back the other way, he's able to fire his HMG at my Krakot. He's been passing a lot of armor saves this game. I'm thankful to say that I finally pass an armor save of my own, and the Krakot is able to guts back behind the corner to safety. So that's something. There he is there. Just pulling back a bit, getting back to a position where he's more comfortable, keeping his Red Fury reloaded. The Hunzukut now places a second mine, so we've got 1 here and 1 here. And the point of the second mine further back towards its deployment zone is that it's deployed in detonation range of the Krakot. So if the Krakot uses Impetuous or tries to run away, it's going to be effective. Although this is one case where you are sort of happy that you've rolled +3 physical on the metachemistry table because that'll help you dodge the mine if that is something that's going to be coming up. Okay, because I've moved to Guangxi prone behind this marker, he moves the Hunskot around safely without engaging the Guangxi and ticks off this console as well. So that brings up to 2 consoles collected. Moving further out here, places down another mine. So he's got, if we just change the color because it's so similar to the terrain here, 1 mine there, 1 behind this, and 1 there. So he's expended all 3 of his mines. Although the bad thing about this is that they're lined up. So the Guangxi only has to move through there and detonate all 3 of them, and that's going to allow the Krakot to just move out. So all in all, you know, not really as effective as it looks. Okay. And behind the scenes, he's got his Gulam Forward Observer, which is able to move out to a place of relative safety, just because he doesn't want to have to keep dealing with the Krakot, which is over the top right there in that picture. Okay, and you can see here the Hunzukut just hanging up behind his objective. He finally fails one, so I think this was his third attempt. And rather than going 3 for 3 with button pressing, he's failed one, which is about normal, you know. Willpower 14, you try 3 attempts, you might fail one. That's not unheard of. Okay, and Janzaban going into suppression fire. This is because he wants to ward off the Krakot from coming around the back of his lines and killing everything. So, things look pretty good for me in the last turn. This is my last turn here. So, as foretold, the Guangxi moves out, detonates both of the mines, and is blown up by them. Doesn't get any hits onto the Hunsukut at all. The other Guangxi who moved onto a rooftop now moves out and tries to pistol him, but gets shot for his trouble and is going to dog it and then die at the end of the turn. So there he is there on the building. The Krakot, now that the mine has been cleared out, is able to move downwards, like back behind the building. And the point here is that the Krakot is going to moving out to destroy his Hunsukut, depriving him of another specialist and preventing him from pressing more buttons effectively. And this is really important. At this point in the game, he's killed my doctor and he's killed my YuJIng, so he's on 2 specialists dead. I have killed the Cube Jaeger, who's a specialist, and I've killed the sensor bot, who's also a specialist, so we're even. I've picked up his designated target with my data tracker, so I've got another 3 points from that. So if the specialist situation doesn't change, or if I pick up one and he doesn't kill any, then I've got 5 points to his 4 for having more consoles, but hey, I've got more consoles as it stands anyway. So being in my final turn, I'm going to make it as difficult as possible for him to pull this off. Having said that though, what we're actually doing here is we are coordinating it, and I'll get the pen out. So coordinator moves the Krakot round here, the control device guy further up with his combi rifle, and the hack tower over this way. And the plan is to move the hack tower right around to his flank and destroy both of his specialists, leaving him with only one specialist, and that's his Barid, left. And the Barid is not going to have enough orders to go and press enough buttons or to kill my specialist. So that should be game winning if I can pull that off. So with the lieutenant's order, just continuing to move along the side to complete that plan. The idea is that if the hack tower shoots at the Hunsukut and forces the guts back around the other side of the objective, then the Krakot can use the last order to finish him off. Whereas if I just start doing it with the Krakot, well, the Krakot's shooting isn't as reliable as the hack tower shooting because of the difference of ballistic skill, if you guys can figure that. So moving right around with the hack tower, gains line of sight to his very blurry forward observer Gulam and destroys him with the HMG. Unfortunately, there's an Odalisk on the staircase, and the Odalisk gets a free shot at the hack tower, and luckily for me, misses. Then, hack tower keeps moving, and there's the Barid here, by the way, quite an important position. If the hack tower finishes off the Hunsukut, I've got one last order to either move into combat, close combat with the Barid, or just to move out and shoot him. What ends up happening here is, though, the hack tower fires through the alleyway, destroys the Hunsukut successfully, takes a free shot against not just the Odalisk, but now the Jambazan, who's been able to turn around. And this results in the hit going through from the Odalisk and the hit going through from the Jambazan, and me failing both armor saves incredibly. So, ouch, the hack tower dies. Keeping the game live, you know, we've still got a real game on our hands. The thing is, though, I've now killed 4 specialists to his 2. He's only got a Barid to press buttons. He's got 2 consoles to my 4. To my 5, in fact, because after this, we do a little bit more work. So there's the dead hack tower. The Krakot's getting into position to provide some really annoying arrows. The Kaisotsu goes into the very middle objective and successfully presses the button. And the ninja moves into the other one on the mid-right, presses the button. So I've now got 5 objectives, he's got 2. I've killed 4 specialists, he's killed 2. I've killed his designated target with my data tracker. My designated target's alive, and he needs to get his Odalisk over there. So let's look at the scoreboard. Let's say he moves his Odalisk around the table, kills the Kaisotsu, kills the ninja, kills the designated target. He's going to get 2 for more specialists. He's going to get a total of 5 there for designated target, data tracker, specialists, and that's it. He'll be on 5. Whereas I will have been on a few points for killing his designated target with my data tracker, but I'd have more consoles. So that's not really going to work for him. If he moves the Barid up and picks up a couple of my consoles, he can swing the consoles back to him, so it's 4-0 on that. And if he kills 2 specialists in the process, then he'd have 4 from the consoles. I'd have like 3 from the data tracker, designated target. So he could win that way just by moving out with a Barid. But he's only got like 7 orders, and what he's got to do is he's got to win several face-to-face rolls, and he's got to pass, whip checks on the actual objectives. To make it harder, I have coordinated in such a way that I've got the ninja here prone the Kaisotsu here. I've got my flash pulse bot who's going to be shooting flash pulses down this alleyway as the Bereed shows up. Furthermore down here, I haven't pictured it, but there's another Kaisotsu standing up over a bit of a parapet, and there's a Shaolin monk sitting there as well, not to mention the Krakot who's guarding one of the streets. So how is he going to do this? His lieutenant stands up, shoots at the Krakot with the rifle, or in fact doesn't. He shoots actually at the long-range Kaisotsu in the background there, because that's what's sort of guarding the avenue that the Bereed's going to come down through. Anyway, this doesn't really amount to much other than me actually losing the Kaisotsu that he decided to shoot at. So now the Bereed comes around the corner, shoots a pitcher over to a roundabout there because he wants to destroy the ninja in a hacking contest to get rid of the ninja. Lightning's pretty good at doing that. So throws down the ninja. You can see throws down the pitcher. So you can see the Bereed here. The pitcher is this token here, and that puts it within range of the ninja. We do our hacking war. The lightning wins. The red rum loses. The ninja is destroyed. But in moving forward, he now has to move along this way, and that's where the flash pulse spot starts to come into effect. So now he has to actually start wasting short skills, having little flash pulse shootouts. I rolled a crit for the flash pulse, miraculously, which is basically like game right there. But then we realized he rolled a crit as well with his rifle. But he's got so few orders at this point that we decided to call it, because what he has to do is he has to continue getting past the flash pulse spot and winning face-to-face rolls. He has to kill this Kaisotsu here, and he has to pass a whip check on this and pass a whip check on this. And doing that with, just 4 or 5 orders is actually impossible. He literally just does not have enough movement to get all the way over there and complete all of those things with the few orders that he had left. He'd really been reduced by quite a lot because he'd lost all of those specialists and so forth from the previous turn. So we ended up calling it. I managed to win on consoles and specialists and killing the designated target and using my data tracker to do it. I did not complete my classified, which was a data scan. Neither did he, and he didn't secure my HVT by the end of it either. He probably could have, but we didn't play out the rest of it. It was quite a huge win to YuJIng, but there were some points during that game where it could have gone differently. It would have been a harder game with El Jabal clearing up the Zanshi, although not impossible. It would have been an easier game for me if I'd remembered that Zanshi was contributing an order for those last couple of turns. He did well to kill a Yanhuo, although that potentially could have gone badly for him. One thing that could have happened though that game is that he could have guessed correctly that I was using executive order, and he could have used El Jabal to move over and assassinate the Hack Tower. That would have resulted in me being in loss of lieutenant, and I would not have really achieved very much in my second turn. So there could have been that. But great mission, and really quality game. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next time, as always.